Forgiveness is hard. I won't pretend it isn't. I've been there. In my hardest moments, I find myself holding on to something that hurts. Afraid if I let it go, then I will lose it completely. Sometimes we don't realize that's why we hold on to things. Resistant to turn the page because we know that when we do, it means it's over. That's one of the reasons I find it so hard to forgive myself sometimes, even if it's just my guilt I have left. Regardless of that hurt I feel, it would hurt even more when there's nothing left. It isn't rational, these moments that emotions outweigh reality. This is when, if we give in to it, we end up losing more than just the thing we're so afraid to be without. You lose everything. Forgiveness is for us. That's who we're hurting by not letting go and moving on. In the end, we only torture ourselves. It's a lot of weight to carry. It can drown you if you don't release it. It is the wounded that suffer from not forgiving. It is their responsibility to make amends. Forgiveness is never easy, but for us to move on and live our lives, it's something we must learn how to do. When we do not know how to let go of the pain someone has caused us, our human instinct is to be angry and spiteful. Before we know what happened, it's a resentment you find constantly weighing you down as you try to continue to live. That gets exhausting. Happiness cannot be found until we accept and let go of the things holding us back. You have a choice to let someone's fault destroy you or make you a stronger person. The faster you forgive, the sooner you can have your life back. I've heard it said before that if you hold on too tightly to the things others have done, you become a character in someone else's story. But when you let it go and forgive, you take back the power to write your own. Sometimes you just wake up one day and realize you're ready to move on. Other times you may find yourself fighting harder to forgive. There's a story about forgiveness, one so remarkable you almost can't imagine it's true. When it gets hard for me, I read it, and it gives me a new perspective. It was a warm evening in Los Angeles when she heard a loud, firm knock at her door. She opened the door and was greeted by two detectives. What has he gotten into now? She wondered about her son. She was unprepared when they told her that her son had been shot and killed. Grief-stricken, she attended the trial every day, and towards the end was given a chance to address the killer himself. She looked directly into his eyes with tears streaming down her cheeks. She stated very distinctly in the courtroom, "I'm going to kill you." The 15-year-old boy was given a 3-year sentence, and she could not stop thinking about him. She was consumed with never-ending hate, shock, and grief that she's never known before. 6 months later, she was bewildered to find herself visiting her son's killer. Separated by glass, they sat face to face, awkwardness and a telephone connecting them. The boy informed her that in the past 6 months, no one had come to visit him. In fact, he had no family at all. At the end of the visit, she deposited some money into his account for toiletries. She began to visit him on a regular basis, and when the boy was released at the age of 18, she asked if he would like to stay with her for some time. Having no place to go, he reluctantly agreed. In the beginning, they barely spoke or saw each other, but as time passed, they began to have regular conversations, and she began cooking him dinner. She got him a dog, and he was grateful. He found work and helped pay the utilities. Shortly before his 21st birthday, as they were eating dinner, she asked him, "Do you remember what I said to you in the courtroom, that I was going to kill you?" The boy stopped chewing his food, frozen with fear. When he regained his composure, he answered yes. "Well, I did," she said. "The boy who was lost and filled with such hate as to kill my son no longer lives. Instead, you sit before me, a hard-working, loving young man who strives to be a gentle person. I want to ask you if I can adopt you as my son." The boy, filled with tears, answered yes. I wish I could say I would react the same in that situation, that I could be this incredible person who not only gives forgiveness, but shows unconditional love to the most unlikely person and changes a life for the better. Maybe we can't all be like this, but if we can spend some of our energy and time trying to do a little better, we could gain so much. If we could avoid pain, we would, but with that, we risk not knowing what joy feels like. So we must endure pain to know how it feels without it, just like we must forgive to find peace. That is a chapter in my book called Forgiveness. Just wanted to read it. I'll put a link to my book's page if anyone wants a copy, wants to read more, wants to know what it's about. if there's anyone out there you need to forgive, again, the longer we hold on to it, it only hurts ourselves. And I also want to say that just because you forgive someone, you're not saying that what they did was okay. It's not the same thing. Forgiving someone is not accepting the bad behavior. Even if it's yourself that you have to forgive. It's not saying that you didn't do something wrong. It's just you weren't meant to carry it forever. You learn a lesson. You change. You don't make the same mistakes, but you can't hold on to it. Punishing yourself, torturing yourself, holding on to that guilt, it's not repentance. It doesn't fix anything. There's peace in forgiveness, and it is for you. And don't get me wrong, sometimes it could be for the other person too. Sometimes healing and forgiveness and compassion has a chain reaction. Maybe you forgiving someone means that they can forgive themselves or forgive someone else. But you can't move on until you forgive. And I've been in situations where I have forgiven people for things, and then I thought I'm over it and I move on, and then I realized that I have to forgive again. And it's maybe not for the same thing. It's a forgiveness again because I realized there's something else that I needed to learn from it, or something else that I needed to forgive for that I didn't realize the first time. And that's okay. But we have to let things go, because if we don't, it will destroy us. And the more you practice forgiveness, the easier it gets. I recently went through something where I had to forgive someone, and the truth is I could have forgave them pretty much right after it happened. I've had a lot of practice. I didn't though, because of I didn't want to let it go. I knew that once I forgave them, it meant I had to let them go. I wasn't ready to do that. It took about a week, 2 weeks, and I realized that the only reason I wasn't forgiving was because I didn't want to let it go. And I finally did, and there's peace at the end of that. And again, it might not end the first time you forgive. Maybe it comes back, maybe it surfaces again, and you realize there's something else you have to forgive for. Just do it. Don't wait. Sometimes you don't gain that peace right away. Sometimes you forgive, and maybe only 95% of you actually feels that way. Maybe it's 70%, maybe it's 50, maybe it's 30. I promise you though, when you do it, when you say it out loud, it will get better. You will start to mean it, even if you have to start saying I forgive you in your head until you can actually say I forgive you to the person and actually mean it. But it's practice. You have to just do it. And remember, healing, it starts by talking. So if you need to forgive someone, yourself, someone else, do it now. Don't wait.